Good morning. I just wanted to show you this morning how I've installed a dash cam in a Range Rover Sport 2016 using a piggyback hardwire fuse. My previous ones have been on a Mini and it's the same principle, but I just thought I'd show you this one. I used the an ROAV dash cam. You can see it sitting up there just behind the mirror, and same principle applied. I'd used a hardwire kit and tucked all the wires away. If I pop the dashboard down here, then you can't see it because the dashboard's in the way, but I'll show you in a minute how that works. So first of all, with a few basic trims again, trim tools, we've just got this trim tool here. That's the dash cam I've installed, and a T30 tool for wiring the earth up, which I'll show you in a moment. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take off this side trim here, and it's not too difficult. You can start, second, take the rubber trim off here on this door, and just allow that plastic to free up here, and then with your trim tool, I find that this starts probably somewhere around about here. Just pop the pins out there, and it does all come off as one panel, so just give it a bit of a tug if it needs to. There you go, and that comes off as a complete unit. So you can see that I've got the wiring in there, and then I'll show you in a minute how to get to that point. So you can see the fuse box in there, but you can't really access it from here. But Range Rover have given us a bit of a helping hand here. So you pop the glove box, and on either side of the glove box are these two sort of soft fold little sort of pieces here, and you press on either side of those. I don't know if one side will stay down while I'm doing the other side talking to you, and press on either side, and it allows the glove box to fold down. So now I think I'm going to have to just switch off for a second. I'll be back in a second. There you go. Sorry, it was a two-fingered job. So yeah, that's what I'm pressing down here. So if you see this on either side, you can't quite see it on the other side, but you can feel it. But you just need to get your thumb in there, and that actually pops now the glove box down, which gives you excellent access to the fuses that we need. And the bank of fuses just in there, and Range Rover have been very good again, very helpful in the fact that if I show you on here, there are two fuses that have tapped into, well, one actually I've tapped into. So I've used F52, which is an ignition feed, and I've also found out that F49 is a live feed. So for the purposes of the dash cam, then I've used F52. So there is a fuse in there, but and I assume from that it's to do with a tailgate. Sorry about the out of focus, get you back in. But it's not used, and it works perfectly well for the with the piggyback. So as before, I've used a hardwire kit. I've used the bolt here, which is on for the that holds the dashboard in place, and that's where this T30 tool comes in. So use the short end first, just to undo that, starting to undo it because it was quite tight, and then use the longer end to finish unscrewing it. Fitted my earth cable behind there and tighten it back up, so that's nice and secure. And then using the piggyback, and I'll tell you a story about these, because this is a micro piggyback. It took me 2 or 3 attempts to get this right. This is a mini, which I've used before on the Mini F56, and this was another piggyback connector which I'd ordered at some point, and both were wrong. So I reordered another one. I think this one was £2.50 off eBay, and this is a micro piggyback fuse, and this is the one that works. So as per usual, it comes with the fuse, spare fuse. I've wired it onto the positive side of the piggyback connector, and then I can now plug it into, let's just see if I can get it right into there for you. So if we can get a torch in there, that number, I don't know if it's going to focus right, sorry, but I'll pop the piggyback in, I'll show you. So the one that you can see to the left there is the 5 amp fuse, is the one that's not used, which is a live feed, and I'm going to take the one on the right of that. So I'll just pop this connector in, and then you can see where that sits. I may be able to do this without putting the camera down, so just pop that in there, like so. There we go. That's great. So you can see, hopefully that's where my piggyback is, and all the rest of the cables, I've put the tie wrap on there just to keep that secure, so that's tucked out of the way. So that essentially is it. The cable for the car I've traced up here on this side here, up to this point here, across, and then underneath, just see a little bit tucking under there, all the way along, and then popped out for the dash cam there, which I'll show you then the reverse of this. So putting it back on, we don't need the dashboard down anymore, so that can go back up, and it just simply clicks back into those lugs, so that will hold that straight. We need to put this side panel back on, and there's a little thing with this. You've just got to line up inside there. There are two, one at the top and one at the bottom. So before you start pushing in, just make sure you get those two locator pins sort of in there. Sorry, pressed off by mistake. Still very amateurish at this, aren't I? So yeah, get those locators in place, and then all the rest of the pins will just, as per usual on these cars, just click back into place. How's that? And then use with the door trim, just pop all that back into place as you do. This is quite thick door trim on this car, and I did notice that you can just flex this in or out slightly. So if it feels like it's a bit loose, then just work it back in to give you a tight, snug fit. There you go. So all that back in place there. So as you can see, no wires showing. Glove box back to normal. sit that back up, and then if we look, you've got again no wires showing. If I press the ignition, then assuming my key's within reach, which it isn't, Gary. So back to it, sorry, left my keys out of the car. So if I press the ignition on my ignition now, that should switch, there we go, it's coming to life. So the dash cam is coming on. If you can see that in this light, there we go. And turn that down. And again, if I turn it off, then it will start to show that it's shutting down. And if you can see that terribly well in this light, but there you go, the counter's going down. I think we're on about 51 seconds. So it starts to shut itself down. Low battery because it's not charging and it's closing down. So in a minute that will close itself down. So there you go. So hopefully that is useful for you. And as before, if you've got any questions, please feel free to give me a call. But that should give you an idea of how to put a dash cam in. Okay, cheers, bye.